Today we're going to talk about asking questions instead of giving orders. So I supervise our maintenance department here, and our head facility maintenance supervisor has really been struggling. He's been struggling for a couple of years now, actually. And so my boss and I were having a conversation about him, and it came down to either he no longer had a job, or we just this newly allocated position and he could demote into it. So me and the maintenance supervisor, I had him come into my office and was talking to him about what's been going on. He'd really been struggling, those types of things. And, he shared with me some family stuff that had been going on. His poor health was also part of the problem. And so we just got to talking, and I told him, you've been having a lot of issues keeping up. You're not helping yourself out any. The stress was literally killing him. And as we're talking, I hadn't even mentioned this new position. He knew about it, but I hadn't mentioned it. And it's kind of like a light bulb went off in his head. And he looked at me and he said, well, what about that new position? And so him and I got to talking, and it was still kind of a supervisory position, but didn't have as much stress. There'd be somebody over him that would take on more the bigger role as far as our maintenance department and supervision. And he could just do the things he did the best and not lose his job. We didn't even talk about him being terminated. I think he just kind of knew how the conversation was going, and just kind of my tone, that's maybe where it would have went. So didn't even have to give him an ultimatum, didn't have to do any of that. And had this discussion, went back to my boss and talked to him about it, and he said it sounded perfect. And now that person is transitioned into a different role and is doing much better.